Small towns and happiness. The first chapter. I've never been here before. After a long time, I left Seoul and came to a small town. When I went downtown, the market was somewhat large, but the stores were quite small. Unlike Seoul, it is rare for street buildings to be more than 3 stories tall. There are several apartment complexes nearby, and the outskirts of the street come out in 20 to 30 minutes. It's a weekend, but the streets are quiet and there aren't many cars, so it's very quiet. I've never experienced a place like this where many people, tall buildings, and many cars are natural. I felt very unfamiliar, but the quiet atmosphere seemed to calm my mind without knowing what it was. There are few traffic lights on the street. I can cross freely on my own. The first time I've been here, it feels like I'm in a small country, or it's a place where time goes slowly. Not without well-decorated stores that have recently opened, but a very small cake house, a small barber shop, and a photo studio bring my mind back to my childhood. There are fewer cars, fewer passers-by, small sound, small buildings, small stores, and naturally minded. It seems to be getting smaller. It seems that the silence and distraction are gone, so the concentration of the head is improved. There is no reason to walk in a hurry. Walking slowly in the fresh air, I will soon find a river flowing outside the town. In these places, many people live by maintaining their livelihoods. Do the people who live here feel less happy? There are many things that are lacking compared to Seoul. I don't think the happiness I feel in life has nothing to do with that. Living in Seoul, a good school, a good job, a nice house, a big, expensive apartment. There's a lot to get, like a good car. There are many things to do such as travel and golf. I also buy expensive items such as luxury goods. If you do well and live through all these things, you will be happy. Is it? Does it make you unhappy just because you don't have it? If you live in Seoul, it can be because the standard of living is judged by these things. However, there will be no problem in making people happy in this small town. Even if they live less and less than Seoul, you don't have to find something that good to live with. Even if it's not a good house or a good job, I think this is happier if it doesn't interfere with living. Looking at it here, I think that I have spent my life on unnecessary things that are not very meaningful by pursuing more than necessary things. Chapter 2 in EBS documentary, I saw the life of a monk practicing on a high mountain in Jirizan Mountain. He lives with the Buddha himself, doing almost everything himself, such as farming, making food, collecting trees, and making firewood. The monk's thoughts on the monk's practice should not be done in a comfortable place, but it should be difficult, hungry, cold, and hard, and it is not enough than overflowing. I saw him live by practicing this. However, it is not easy to accept this in a society where material civilization is extremely developed and convenience comes first. Today's society is trying to make the world standardized. Man-made artifacts are straight squares, triangle. It is a circle with a straight curve and repeat the same shape, indicating figures that are angled or close to complete circles. There is no straight shape in nature, a mountain or river. Many natural objects, such as the shape of trees and coastline, do not make standardized shapes. It is not a formalized and standardized shape. Repeat similar patterns, but not the same shape. Change is always happening. Like this nature, life is not straight and there is always ups and downs. Rise and fall. Fluctuate if it's hard. Go where it's hard. If it's insufficient, go where it's insufficient. Happiness can arise in our lives. However, society is becoming a society that seeks to be upright, convenient, and only takes good things. So it is becoming a society that forces flawlessness in anything. Society is turning into a society where no mistakes or errors occur and failures are not allowed. I'm trying not to accept what's lacking. In particular, I try not to easily admit that I am not good enough than others. But I can't do everything well. But the world doesn't move in an orderly fashion. If you think your ideology or logic is flawless, what will happen to people who have different ideas from you? Are those opponents unconditionally bad people? Historically, a complete society of flawlessness usually becomes a just and righteous person on my side, while the other person becomes evil and bad. Eventually, confrontation and conflict would develop into punishment and fight, resulting in enormous tragedies that killed each other. Even now, this behavior has not changed much. If my thoughts or ideologies are wrong with me, I am trying to make the other person evil by denying and disparaging the other person and even using slang. It causes hate, hatred, and hostility to fight each other. I try to lower my opponent and raise myself. Jesus said these things the other way around. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Chapter 3 There is only one light, but there are many colors. Nature blends many colors to make the world more beautiful. Likewise, there is one truth, but there are many religions such as Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, and Hinduism, many other. If these religions accept each other, I think it will be a very big good world. If the color of my religion is beautiful, the world loses its color. When my color gets smaller, other colors are added, and the world gives off a beautiful color. When my color grows, the world loses other colors. Then my color loses its meaning in the world. Jesus say enter by the narrow gate. For the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. This word of Jesus has a lot of meaning. Happiness can be lost more and more unless there is happiness only when it is overflowing and remaining, and happiness can be accumulated even if it is not enough and insufficient. It also has the meaning of filling if it is insufficient and emptying if it overflows. We go through countless times in our lives every day. These things are a mixture of easy, difficult, good, and bad. I think most of the things that are easily done without taking time and sweating are good things and things that make us happy. However, if you accomplish things easily, people fall into pride and complacency, and it is easy to fall into depravity and unhappiness. True happiness is easy to come without anyone knowing when you sweat and take time to persevere and try. We live in a world that is filled if not enough and emptied if not enough. The warmth that we do not know allows us to unexpectedly move on to a richer path of life, and feel happy when we do not mind being cold, difficult, and hard. Unexpectedly, the warmth that we don't know when we are willing to accept cold, hard, and hardship. It leads to a richer path of happiness in life. Nature does not choose color. All colors are changed and circulated without discrimination to create a beautiful landscape. The cycle does not reproduce the past equally. It circulates by leaping from old to new.